In an ancient city by the silent river stood a sculptor's workshop, where stone dust mingled with incense, and chisels echoed like temple bells through dawn. The sculptor was known among kings, priests, and merchants for his godlike carvings. His statues breathed life into temples, his angels adorned royal tombs, and his warriors guarded palace gates in silent immortality. But as time passed, his fame grew heavier upon him. One morning, when the sun rose purple over the river, he awoke to trembling hands. His chisel fell from his grip. He tried again, but the stone blurred before his weary eyes. The lines that once flowed from his mind like divine whispers now mocked him as meaningless scratches. Months passed. Clients left. Friends whispered behind closed doors. Even his disciples abandoned him for newer masters. The once proud sculptor found himself staring for hours at uncut stones, paralyzed by the terror that his gift had died within him. His home became silent. His evenings burned with wine, prayers, and tears that no god seemed to hear. Each morning he rose to try again, and each evening he sank deeper into hopelessness. The world felt like a sealed room without air, his chest heavy with unspoken grief. One winter night, when the moon rose full and indifferent, he walked to the river, barefoot on the frost-burnt earth, each step carrying the weight of finality. He reached the riverbank, its waters shimmering like liquid obsidian under moonlight. The cold wind bit his skin as he stepped into the freezing water, ready to surrender his life to the silent currents. But as he stood waist-deep, the icy shock woke something within him. He looked down at the rippling water. The moon's reflection trembled, fractured into shifting silver shards. And in that trembling reflection, he saw his own broken face, hollow eyes, gray beard, defeated soul. Yet he was still there, still alive, still breathing. Something deep within whispered a forgotten truth. This is not your end. This is your beginning. He returned, drenched and shaking. That night he could not sleep. Instead, he lit a single oil lamp, picked up his chisel with trembling hands, and pressed it against stone. He carved not for fame, nor for kings, nor for temples. He carved his pain, his sorrow, his surrender, his death, his rebirth. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months. When he finally unveiled his creation, it was not beautiful. It was truth. A sculpture of a broken man kneeling with his head resting upon the lap of a silent angel, tears falling onto stone feet. There was no grandeur, no arrogance, only the pure vulnerability of a soul that had descended into darkness and returned with light. People wept before it. The priests called it a miracle in stone. The kings called it immortal art. But the sculptor, with tired eyes and peaceful heart, simply called it his truth. There is a secret that life whispers to you in your darkest hours, but most never hear it because they are too busy cursing the night. Your lowest phase is not your end. It is the furnace where you are melted, purified, and remade into something indestructible. We think greatness is born when life is kind, when money flows, when friends cheer, when the body is strong, and the mind is calm. But in truth, greatness is born when you have lost everything you thought defined you, and you stand naked before yourself with nothing left to pretend. Your lowest phase strips away the illusion that you need others' approval to feel worthy, the illusion that your identity is built upon what you achieve, the illusion that life owes you certainty or fairness, the illusion that if you do everything right, pain will never touch you. Pain will touch you. It is unavoidable, but it is not sent to punish you. It is sent to awaken you. Because it is death, not death of your body, but death of who you thought you were. Death of your attachments, your arrogance, your illusions of control. You grieve because a part of you is dying. The part that believed strength was about never falling. The part that believed happiness was about always being loved. The part that believed wisdom was about never making mistakes. In the ashes of that death, you find something different. A stillness that does not depend on validation. A quiet dignity that does not fear loss. A strength that does not need to appear strong. A faith that is born not of doctrines, but of your own direct encounter with darkness. When you are in your lowest phase, everything you relied upon vanishes: your confidence, your routine, your people, your dreams. You are left with nothing but your naked self. And it is here, in this sacred loneliness, that life asks you a question. Who are you when there is nothing left to hold on to? Most people spend their lives avoiding this question. They build fortresses of achievement, relationships, status, and distraction to never face it. But life, in its ruthless compassion, tears those walls down when it wants you to awaken. Because your true self is not in what you built. It is in what remains when all building crumbles. In the night, your eyes adjust to the dark. You begin to see shapes you never noticed in daylight. In suffering, your soul adjusts to truth. You begin to see wisdom you never noticed in happiness. Pain makes you humble. Humility makes you open. Openness makes you wise. Wisdom makes you compassionate. Compassion makes you divine. Think of every sage, saint, artist, or warrior who ever transformed the world. Their greatness did not come from comfort, came from fire. Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree not because he was happy, but because he was broken by the sight of sickness, old age, and death. Jesus spoke forgiveness on the cross not because life was kind to him, but because suffering revealed the depths of his compassion. Rumi wrote his timeless verses not because his life was perfect, but because grief tore his heart open to divine love. Nelson Mandela walked out of prison after 27 years not with vengeance, but with wisdom that built a nation, because solitude taught him the difference between power and greatness. And the sculptor in the story carved immortal truth not because his skill was flawless, but because his suffering dissolved his arrogance and revealed his soul. Your lowest phase is your initiation. It baptizes you in the waters of humility. It burns you in the fires of truth. It buries you in the soil of surrender. And from this you rise not as who you were, but as who you are meant to be. One day, years from now, you will sit by a window watching the golden evening sun, and you will remember this phase. You will remember how it broke you, shattered you, humiliated you. You will remember the nights you cried silently, feeling forgotten by God and life. You will remember the empty mornings when getting out of bed felt like lifting a mountain. And with tears in your eyes, you will whisper softly to yourself, "Thank you," because you will see how this pain forged your patience, how this loneliness forged your self-love, how this rejection forged your clarity, how this despair forged your faith, how this silence forged your voice, how this surrender forged your invincibility. If you are walking through your lowest phase today, do not curse it. Sit with it, listen to it, ask it what it has come to teach you, because it has come for a reason. It is your teacher. It is your masterclass. It is your initiation into the depths of life where few dare to go. This is not the end of your story. This is the secret chapter that will make your story worth telling. Because in the end, people will not be moved by your victories alone. They will be moved by your scars. They will not admire your strength that never fell. They will revere your strength that fell 1,000 times, broke into 1,000 pieces, and still chose to rise with trembling hands, whispering, "I am still here, and I will continue." That is greatness. That is truth. That is you.